here in the room, out on the Zoom, to Manhattan Community Board 4 Business License and Permits Committee of May. That's the month of May. We have an agenda, and I'd like to people be aware of our hybrid policy, which you can find in detail on our website. Board members, committee members are expected to attend meetings in purpose unless they have a disability or extraordinary circumstances. Excused members and members of the public will be able to participate virtually. Members who are joining via Zoom must leave their cameras on. And as you heard just before, this meeting is being streamed live on our YouTube channel, and transcript is being recorded. Okay. So again, welcome everybody. My name is Bert Lazarin. I'm co-chair of the Business License and Permits Committee. I'd like to introduce the other members of our committee.
Hi, I'm Jesse Greenwald. I'm a member, and I live in Chelsea.
Ian Ivchenko, member.
Ted Arenas, member.
Annie Stewart, member. Gina Nelson, member.
And virtual, our members up there.
Carrie Keenan, member.
Mike Noble, member.
Greg Morris, member.
Okay. And our agenda tonight is probably creates a record. We only have 6 items on the agenda. 6 items. This is in comparison, some nights we have 13, 14, 21 items. Tonight, 6. So let's proceed. We have item number 1, 25 11th Avenue, Market 57. It's a kiosk. Its hours of operation will be 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week. It has, as you can see, a certain capacity, which the capacity they talk about is it's within a hall, so it's the entire hall. It seats this kiosk 37 people, 37 tables, 230. Again, this must be the whole hall, 231. Okay, and for those committee members who have looked at the layout, there was an error, so we have a new layout if we want to see what was printed. And Nellie sent it to us. It just came out of the does it say the burner? No, it's the copy. Okay, and I just, for those who do not know, this is their first time at BLP. The way we proceed is we ask the applicant to make a presentation. Then we have committee members, questions, comments, and then we open it up to the community. So, the applicant.
Hi, good evening. This is Ben Savitsky of Bernstein, Rado and Savitsky. How are you?
Okay.
Sorry, my video is not working for some reason, but I don't think it's important. So this is Zab Zab Inc. They operate a kiosk in Pier 57 Food Hall, as you mentioned, Bert. They have a beer and wine license. This is an alteration application. We're not changing anything for that's patron facing or any method of operation. All we're doing here is we are adding in a storage facility that is in the lower level of the food hall. They currently store business supplies there, and they would like to store alcohol there. No other changes to the premises or the method of operation. It's about 179 square feet in the lower level, and it's not for patrons.
Okay. And then I just have one question. Any prior steps that we applied in the past with you, I assume they will still be enforced.
Everything would remain the exact same.
Okay. Any comments, questions from the committee?
We just have to come before us, that kind of like a license change. No.
Just that they're storing it. What, why?
Asking me,
No,
I expect
No, I'm asking you, like, why are they coming to us? Because if they're storing it.
it's a change of operation.
Method of
Storing it?
Method of operation. They're opening up a whole new floor. even though the floor is not necessarily open to the public, it's storage, but guest space is changing. No, anybody, Mike, Carrie, Gregory, no?
Move to adopt.
Wait, hold on, Michael. We gotta see if there's anybody from the community. Nellie, anybody with a hand raised?
No, there's no one.
Okay,
I second.
Mike made a motion, second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed, not eligible, present not eligible? And abstaining, okay, thanks, Ben.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Yep, you too. Now we're moving on to the category where we have new wine, beer, and cider license. And the first applicant in this group is 10 Columbus Circle, Shake Shack.
Yeah, hi Bert, Donald Bernstein. Hello,
Hi,
everybody.
Donald.
My application, I don't know if my client is here. There you are. Okay, you're on Martha's, okay, I see. You signed in. I got it. All right. I was wondering why Martha was here. It's you. All right, Nick is here from Shake Shack. This hopefully is as easy as the first one you did. You all know Shake Shack all over the city and elsewhere. This is a new application just for beer and wine. They are on the 3rd floor at 10 Columbus Circle. The hours are 10:30 a.m. until 11 p.m. It's the same menu and operation that you see in Shake Shacks all over the city. It has a total of 10 tables and 36 seats. And that's it.
Comments, questions? Gina?
Yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, Shake Shack is pretty popular and I know the 3rd floor. I'm curious, how are you going to deal with the lines on the 3rd floor? Is my first question. And second question is, where on the 3rd floor actually are you located?
Nick, you want to unmute yourself and you can answer that? There you go.
Yeah, so we are in a vacant spot currently. Trying to pull up the actual map of our floor plan so I could show that to you. Let's see. Circle. Let's see.
Sorry, if you could just tell me the store you're next door to.
I'm not 100% sure. I've actually never been there, so I don't know exactly which store it is. I know it's on a corner, but let me see if I can see that.
Here's the,
Yeah,
oh, you have it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just concerned about that space is, I mean, it's not small, but that aisle is not huge. How would you deal with the lines?
So, I mean, Shake Shack's been around for a long time. We haven't had a huge turnout for grand openings as we've had in the past. I feel like being on the 3rd floor, we can moderate that, but I don't really foresee it being a huge grand opening or extensive lines like the first, say, 10 Shake Shacks in New York City. But if that is a concern, I can get with my operations team and we can make sure that we do have a plan in place to make sure that we can have a orderly fashioned opening.
I mean, that's definitely.
But I think Tina, Nick, I think Tina's referring not necessarily to the opening,
Right.
but to the everyday activity. She's thinking that there might be a line there to get in, but I think that's what you're referring
Yeah,
to.
exactly. I mean, I know that area and frankly, I'm just trying to anticipate crowd and it's not a huge area. But so just in terms of the line.
Well, 302, they're on the third floor.
Yeah,
right?
it goes, it's like on that corner, so it
Yes.
does have that
It
whole,
does have, but it's not a huge.
it's not huge.
And Shake Shack is rather popular.
So I would compare it to, like, we just did an opening in Penn Station. If anyone's gone to Penn Station, it's one of the most populous areas in and out of people, I think, throughout the city. And I go past there almost every day, and there isn't a line even outside of that Shack. So I would compare it to that Shack in terms of volume and business. You know, people generally are out the door for our orders within 8 minutes. We're trying to get that down to 6 minutes. So it's not some place that someone is going to be in line for that long.
Penn Station also is very different because it's transit. I mean, there's constant movement. Listen, I just would like to know that, I mean, that's an area I frequent. And the bottom line is I would just like to know that if there are crowds, if there's something set up, like maybe a line of sorts, I don't know what they.
So-
I mean, I think if there are people waiting, I don't think they're just gonna be a crowd of people. I think people would line up against the outside of the store. If you have a single file line, it's not gonna be an issue. It's not an issue with noise. It's not blocking streets. It's inside on the third floor. So, and that's assuming that there is in fact gonna be a line.
But you would do stanchions, right? You are doing that on 8th Avenue,
Yeah, they do it everywhere.
aren't you?
If it is a problem, we do
That's
do
it.
stuff like that. Yes.
Yeah, so you would stipulate to that. Right? You're looking somewhere else.
Would you stipulate to that? That's all I'm asking.
So they're asking Nick, if there is a line, would you agree that you would put stanchions or something there to keep it up against-
Okay.
I don't see that as a problem.
So then you would agree to a stipulation. Okay, thank you. Okay, additional questions? Comments? I see one hand raised, Nellie, Anita? Can we have those stipulations, please? Nellie, can you move Anita over, please?
Yes, I'm moving Anita over.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. It's been a while.
Hi.
Attended these meetings. I live so close to Time Warner, and I actually walked over to the space today. And it's going to be a lovely space because it overlooks Columbus Circle. So I could see that it will be very popular amongst the tourists, that it might wind up in guidebooks, just recommending you can have a burger and have a beautiful view of Columbus Circle. My concern is not the people lining up to get in. My concern is deliveries. You're on the third floor, and this area, if anyone else lives around here, you can see the many delivery men who sit in front of these fast food stores. And how are you going to handle the delivery service? Because Time Warner does not have, or 10 Columbus Circle, excuse me, doesn't have any bike racks. So what are they going to do? Are the delivery men going to be dragging their bikes up to the third floor? Are they going to be waiting on the third floor with their bikes? I mean, how do you plan on handling the delivery service?
Yeah,
You're on mute.
you're on mute, Nick.
So if you could enlighten me in how Momofuku noodle bar does their to go
They're
and their
very
delivery?
tiny. They're very tiny, and they are not a Shake Shack. I mean, you look at Shake Shack, and you are, how many locations do you have? Like 100, 50, 60, 70? I mean, you are hot. You are popular. Momofuku, there are people who don't even know that Momofuku, what it is or that it exists. But that is, that's just Asian noodles. They're not a popular takeout. But Shake Shack is. Kids love Shake Shack. I could see someone being in a hotel nearby and saying, I want to order a Shake Shack. It's a popular takeout product. You can't compare it to Momofuku.
Okay. I mean, I just saw that they're on the third floor as well.
They're on the third floor, but please, if you walk over there, you'll see how tiny it is. And plus, they're in the corner. You are going to be right there, right over the entrance to 10 Columbus Circle. I keep saying Time Warner, excuse me.
I would definitely have to get with my operations team and even the building to see if there will be something that will be set up and designated for our delivery. It is a decent amount of our business and we want to have that available. So I would definitely have to table that and get some direction from how operations plans on.
Right, because, you do have elevators, but then the delivery men have to find the elevators. And does it mean that they're going to be loitering in 10 Columbus Circle? I really wish there was someone here from 10 Columbus Circle who could tell us how they intend on managing the delivery people, because I've never seen bicycles in there. Yes, Berta. Yes,
This is a
sweetie.
very good question. Very good question. And Nick doesn't have the answer right now. He says he has to go to his operations people. I would suggest our full board meeting is June 5th. And I would suggest we get an answer, Nick, before the full board meeting. Nellie, when will we need an answer?
Bert, did you say June 5th or 6th?
June 5th. It's a Wednesday, it should be a Wednesday, June 5th. I read my calendar.
We can get you an answer in advance. We'll get you an answer within the next day or two.
We need an answer in advance that we could add as a stipulation, you're gonna operate this way, in terms of the deliveries.
Do we need a letter from the Columbus Circle? I mean, the owners?
I don't know, do we?
I would say Christina's right, because that's who's going to be, you have to think, this is a vertical mall. So they have to go up to the third floor. If they were on the second floor, it would be easier. But they now have to drag their bicycles up 2 escalators. So, or, what's going to happen is that you walk into the front.
I think we got it. This is really good, but so I think we need a letter from 10 Columbus.
Donald, is that a possibility?
And
Related. Related owns 10 Columbus Circle.
Whoever the owner is, whoever you're renting from.
Right.
Okay, it would be good that once you speak to the operations people and you have a sense of how you're gonna do this, then you get an okay from the people you're renting. And then we have all of that before the full board meeting.
Right.
Does that sound doable, Donald?
Bert?
Tell me exactly what you want. What do you need, Bert?
One, Nick is gonna be talking to his operations people to
Yes,
get.
that's easy to do.
Right, and then once he gets that, present it to the people from your renting, the landlord. Okay, and saying, yes, that kind of process, that kind of program, delivery, pickup, we agreed to.
Bert, I would like to just add that I think Nick should be telling, I would like to have 10 Columbus Circle know what percentage of their business
Or
is?
whatever he has, that he will work it out with the landlord will have those questions.
Right, and I would like to know where they're putting the bike rack.
That will be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Donald, is this,
Tell me, yeah, I just want to be clear so there's no misunderstanding. Tell me what you want us to do.
one, Nick works out with his operations people what the pickup delivery process is, where the bike racks are, how they're getting it up. They do it all at once, do they wait for like 10 deliveries and then do it, or is it one at a time, whatever they decide. And then once you have your program in place, you present it to your landlord, and the landlord agrees to that. Yes, we accept that. You could have the bikes doing this, the bikes doing that, the rack over there.
And what's the date we get the answer? Nellie?
So what do you want me to give you? Just an email reporting this to you?
Something that's an email, and I'm old fashioned in paper, whatever.
Stipulation.
But it would be, we make that a stipulation of the licensing.
Nellie, what date do we need it by?
The 29th.
29th of this month.
May
So then
So
we
you
can
want, so you want me to, I'm gonna email you the information on how this is done, where it's stored, what the process and procedure is, and let you know that we advise the landlord of this?
and then not advise the landlord, and you advise the landlord, yes.
And agree to abide by it.
And your landlord says, yes, you could do that. And we need it by the 29th because we have to absorb it, assimilate it, read it, understand it, and then we go to the full board in our presentation. Workable?
I think so.
I hope so. Okay, so with those stipulations, do I hear a motion?
It's also that they'll put that aisle in, or whatever you call it.
Stanchion.
Oh, and the stanchions, yes. Well, that they agreed to already.
Okay.
That they agreed
Motion
to.
then.
Is there-
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And opposed, present not eligible, abstaining. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Looking
Thanks,
forward to
Nick.
hearing
Nick, I'll
you.
talk to you tomorrow. You
Okay,
can sign off, Nick.
now we move on to the last 4 items on our agenda, which are in the category of new full liquor license wine, beer, and cider. The first one is third item on our agenda, 88 10th Avenue, which hours of operation are to 11 o'clock, if I remember correctly, 11 o'clock every night. Is the applicant here?
Yes, hi Bert, this is my application as well. I'm here with Brandon Voss, who you should
Yes.
know, and you probably remember Brandon was before you back in the summer of 2022 when he applied for a license at 20 Hudson Yards using his same method of operation that Voss Events does. This space, this is actually, we've got 2 applications before you. One is for an on-premises liquor license. The other is for beer and wine. It's the same space. Everything's the same.
Yeah.
The reason why we're doing that is because with the beer and wine license, we're eligible for a temporary permit. And the State Liquor Authority is allowing applicants to file for both full liquor and beer and wine when they're not eligible for a temporary permit with full liquor. So we're going to be making 2 applications. If the full liquor license doesn't materialize by the time Brandon is ready to open, he'll have the opportunity to at least serve beer and wine. So 2 applications will be made. I just want to make sure you're aware of that. We did send 2 notices to the office. The space is 88 10th Avenue. It's in Chelsea Market between 15th and 16th. This space was licensed to and operated by Morimoto, the restaurant there, for 15 years from 2005 to 2020. I believe it's been vacant since they left in 2020. There are a couple of different parts of the space. If you look at the floor plan on the ground floor, you'll see it abuts 10th Avenue, and the entrance takes you to a rectangular area that's just a sit-down, full-service restaurant. There will be a separation between that space, which has Let me see if I wrote this down. I don't know. The restaurant has 18 tables with 70 seats. Then adjoining that is a larger space, and that's dinner theater. You look at the floor plan and you'll see seating throughout. You will see a stage. People can come and have dinner while there's a performance, while there's a show. Brandon has been doing this for years in various locations in New York and other cities. He does some seasonal events. Again, this is the same thing he was going to do at 20 Hudson Yards, which was about the same size that you approved back in 2022. Unfortunately, we couldn't go ahead with it, so he never got a permanent license there. I believe there will be 2 shows in the evening in the dinner theater. The third part of the space is the Sidewalk Cafe, which is on 10th Avenue. The Sidewalk Cafe will have, where are my notes? 14 tables with 28 seats, and that will close in accordance with your suggested guidelines at 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. with no music outside. The third space is in the cellar, and that is sort of an immersive dining experience in the cellar. It's immersive decor. It's a walkthrough experience in connection with the show. It doesn't have table seating. It has 1 bar with 13 seats. The music program in the restaurant and in the cellar will just be background recorded. In the dinner theater, it will be recorded music. There will be live music. There will be performances. There will be a DJ. The hours of operation are going to be 11 a.m. to 2 a.m., but let me explain that. The last show in the dinner theater will end by 11. Obviously, it will take some time for people to get out. They could stay and linger. They could leave. So from day to day, the closing hour effectively or practically will be by midnight. The restaurant may even empty out earlier. But there may be some special events. They may be seasonal. They may be holiday. They may be private events where the operation will go on later up until 2 a.m. That's not going to be a nightly occurrence. But because from time to time and during holidays, it could go till 2, we need to have the 2 a.m. license. And we also, just so that I don't forget, would like 4 a.m. on New Year's Eve, so Brandon can take advantage of that. Those are the details. What I'd like to do is just let Brandon say hello to you again and just remind you, give you a little bit of an idea of what the programming will be like.
Okay, Brandon.
Hello, nice to see everyone. I'm sure you probably don't remember me from 3 years ago, but I'll give you a quick update. So I run a production company in New York. We've been operating here since 2009. I would say our primary means of business is a touring production company. So we've done shows all over the world, arenas in Europe. We play Radio City in New York. We do all sorts of touring productions. About 4 years ago, we started doing residencies in various cities. Vegas, Los Angeles, New York. One we've had a lot of success with is why I came here before you guys a few years ago. It's called Santa's Secret in Hudson Yards. It's a variety show, an immersive experience for the holidays. We've run that since 2021. We've done it usually on caterers licenses, partnering with an F&B partner because the SLA just takes so long. So a new business model for us is moving this and some of our other residencies into what will be our own venue, as opposed to popping up and renting venues. Like, for example, last year we did it in about a 7,000 square foot tent by the Vessel in Hudson Yards. Before that, we did it in the former Neiman space inside the shops. So we've kind of moved around. It's quite expensive building this and taking it down and permitting it every year. So the idea is to run a full-time operation. The Christmas show will be one of many shows that play there throughout the year. So we have a lot of seasonal programming. There's a Valentine's Day show, there's a Halloween show, Christmas show. It's basically a high-end supper club, if you will. That's the concept. So any questions around that? I mean, we're also operating something similar in Los Angeles.
I have 2 questions here, 3 questions. Let's go around. Jesse?
Hit me.
Hi, Brandon. Nice to meet you.
Jesse.
To the extent you know, can you walk us through the history of this particular space? Do you know
prior iterations of what was in there, not just the most immediate,
I mean, the space that we've leased?
yeah, correct.
Yeah, it was a Steven Starr restaurant. It was a Morimoto. He's a famous Japanese chef. It was a sushi restaurant. For us, it's very appealing because the former architect put all these faux columns in there, as I'm sure a lot of you, which are exactly that, faux. So for us to do dinner theater, you really need clear sight lines. So the space is actually amazing for us because it sits right underneath the high line and there's no columns. So you have clear sight lines to the stage. So it took us quite a bit of time in scouring the city to find somewhere, in a vertical city that doesn't have columns all over the restaurant space. So yeah. I actually love this space. I dined at Morimoto many times, so I know it quite well.
I just have a concern with the sidewalk. You may be legally able to have these 2 rows of tables. I would prefer that it be just 1 row against the building.
Well, we're not doing them.
We're not doing that tonight?
No, oh,
Okay,
yeah.
we're good.
No, we need, I mean, we're not approving, right? We're not
We don't-
approving
we
any
don't-
Oh,
sidewalk.
that's right, because they're not.
We don't do
They have to
sidewalks
come through you.
now. First you go to the DOT, then the DOT center.
Comes here.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I understand that process, but just so you know, there's 10 foot of clearance between the
but
table and the. Which is-
When you come back, I'm gonna have the same thing. That is an extremely crowded sidewalk. It's the entrance to the Chelsea Market. It is packed, on a regular day. So I'd say while it's normally probably enough space, in that situation, it's just gonna be a nightmare. So I would hope that you might wanna just have the tables out there for visibility and get rid of the 2nd row, but you'll come back for that.
Yeah, the way the new procedure is, goes to DOT first, DOT makes a recommendation, make sure everything is good for them, then they send it to us. This is the way it's gonna begin.
And they need to do apply for the liquor license at that time. Right.
But that's for the sidewalk cafe.
Yeah,
Okay.
Not for
no.
the restaurant.
Right.
Okay, Ted, did you have a question, or Candace? There was somebody over here. Okay, Candace.
Hi, my question is, I guess in the cellar part.
Sure.
The immersive decor circles.
I can cut you over here. I can kind of explain to you if you've never been to one of the experiences. I can kind of explain what happens in the cellar if you want.
Listen to the.
Brandon, we have a question being,
So
it's coming out here,
yeah.
so let's wait for the question to be finished.
Oh,
Then you
okay.
can respond, or if you want to respond to the previous question, go ahead.
So it has to do with, people that are ADA accessible, like how are they supposed to get down? Cause is it part of the whole experience in the front or in the top, the stage and everything, and they come downstairs to do more activities? I just kind of feel, for that kind of.
Yeah, well, likely. I'm speaking to my architect about it. We've already approached it. We're probably going to put a lift in somewhere because the restaurant didn't have an elevator in there, so it's not in these plans. We were not sure if it was a code or not because the show was on the main floor. But if it's required, I'm sorry.
Is it part of the show is part of up there in the top, and then you go downstairs to kind of do more of the show, right?
The downstairs is it's the entry point. It's a place for people to queue up as they're entering to sit down. And they walk through and they interact with the characters and end up in the supper club. So yes, if it's required, we'll put a lift in. If that's the question.
Christine?
So saying about ADA that they have to enter somewhere sounds a little cavalier. So you need to have a plan, and otherwise the DOB is not going to let you build that stuff. So you better think about
Understood, yes.
And show it on our plan. We need revised plan with an ADA elevator.
There's also an elevator that can be accessed through the Chelsea Market if we needed it. It's not shown on these plans, but it is there. Frankly, the architect was looking into it, and if we needed to put it in by the DOB, we would put it in. It's a few $100,000, so if we could use the elevator as part of the Chelsea Market, we would do that. But if they want us to put it in, obviously I would put it in. So they're gonna make us
Whatever
put
is
it
your
in.
plan, but entering somewhere is not an answer. Okay, so we need to see a plan with an ADA access. That's the bottom line. And then you need to have a certification from Chelsea Market that they are in agreement with you to let you use that elevator and that there is a decent access and people are not treated like rats in the backyard, in the back, right?
Okay, I don't treat people like rats.
I'm just saying.
I don't know why you're being confrontational with me.
Those elevators going down, sometimes they are in the cellar and they are not very nice. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, these aren't that bad. I've been in them. The question was just whether or not they wanted us to use them. So it was kind of to be determined. And I believe if it's decided that we add a lift in the actual space itself, that we would amend the plans.
Well, we would like a determination before we vote on it.
May
the full
29th.
board.
Right.
So we got some answer to the question about ADA access, by May 29th.
Okay.
Okay, and second is that line, I mean, you know, since you are going to have shows there, you are going to have lines waiting to get in the show. And they are going to be lined up on 10th Avenue where you want to have your sidewalk cafe. So how is the line going to be handled?
Yes, that's what I was trying to explain about the cellar. So the purpose of the cellar is the walkthrough experience. So as people enter for the supper club, it's a separate entrance from the restaurant, and B, they go immediately downstairs and they walk through the cellar. So it's about 2,000 square feet of space down there in which people walk through. I'd say the best way I could describe it to you is almost like a haunted house. Well, not a haunted house, but you're walking through these different exhibits, these different art installations that people walk through. So it serves as a way to entertain them while they're waiting to be seated.
So, okay, so you need to help me on that. So the people are entering, they go in the cellar, they go through the cellar, and then they come back up on the first floor for the theater.
Yes, that's correct.
That's the way it works. So people do not go into the theater on the first floor from the street ever.
They can, there's the option, but typically, and this is the way we've done it for the last few years in Hudson Yards. It's part of the experience. You walk through and you interact with the performers, like it's holiday decor.
But so if people can do it from the sidewalk, how is the line going to be managed on the sidewalk?
That's what I'm saying. For the most part, the line is contained inside the space because they go immediately inside and there's a walking through the installations that serve as a queue.
Brandon, I guess just the clarifying question is, are you checking tickets at the front door before people go into the cellar, or are the tickets not being checked until they're already in the cellar? Therefore, there's no line.
We check tickets as they enter, but the wait is at the host stand because they have to be seated. So when we check their tickets, we glance at them or scan them, they go immediately inside. And there's a long queue inside the space.
So you're entering the dinner entrance on page 22 of your application. The dinner theater entrance comes in off 10th Avenue.
That's correct.
So there will be a line on 10th Avenue.
So what we need is
checking tickets before guests go downstairs to the cellar. Or are you checking tickets once they're in the cellar? So you're letting everybody in.
We let them in. We make sure they have tickets so they don't come inside. We make sure they have tickets, but they're scanned and they're scanned and they're seated when they come up to the host stand after they walk through the installations.
So just to the answer, so people can flash their tickets on their phone and walk in without necessarily standing and queuing, and then it's not actually scanned until they get to the host stand.
Yes, it's scanned and they find out, yes, correct, and then they're seated. We've done it in Hudson Yards for several years. It works quite well.
Can you just speak a little bit more to the Hudson Yards experience? Yeah, you're gonna tell us that in your experience operating there, you have not had significant lines outside. That's your experience.
There's some lines occasionally, but we've done this for several years and we figured out how to expedite the lines. And no, for the most part, they're inside.
Brandon, we're not Hudson Yards. we don't want lines on the street,
Not on 10th Avenue.
not on 10th Avenue, like Chelsea Market. So we have to figure out a way not to have lines. Or if we do have a line, it's minimalized and it's structured and
Maybe on the sidewalk.
overseen.
Well, I think that's what he's saying.
That's what I'm saying. We put a lot of effort into this.
Not
Like,
being clear.
we've created an entire walkthrough experience in the
You're
basement.
not very clear about what you're saying.
No line outside.
So I think what would be helpful is that if you thought about the process of letting the people, I see all the stairs, if you let the people to go down all the way to the stairs without checking anything, right? And therefore the line is in the stairs, which I have seen in other clubs, right? And then you check after they have been in the stairs. So at least we know that there is a certain volume of people which are inside, and then you have the check there. And then if you have to turn somebody away, you have a process there to turn somebody away from there, but not from the street.
Sure, we could do that. And again, the person at the street door is more just like, do you have tickets? Making sure you have their tickets, just making sure that they're not just wandering off the street. So it's not slowing people down. And another thing that we do, if the ticket time is at 6 p.m., we open the doors at 5 p.m. And people tend to trickle in. They don't all show up right at 6 p.m. So
I mean, either way, we want someone at the door regardless, because that'll keep it, we want someone stationed at the door either way, because we want, you know, organized outside and keep volumes down and stuff. So I don't necessarily help with this, but I think that that's a fine compromise of just, Grant, just if you're committing to us that you'll, you know, get people in and really.
Well, I'd like to know that they are going to be, the check on the ticket is going to be after the stairs. I think that's very important.
So no line outside.
Right.
So
that we have a buffer, or we have a buffer to absorb stuff.
yeah. I can tell you from a customer service standpoint, our number one thing has always been eliminating the line. No one likes to stand in line. This is like a high-end event, it's expensive. So I will do it for you also, but I'm telling you as an operator, I hate it when people stand in line. We try to make the entire thing an experience. It's why I've dedicated the basement to basically an elaborate queue. Like I mean, it's not a bar, it's not a club, it's a line that will have entertainment for people.
Agreeing to queue people inside and no line on the street.
Right, on the stairs.
Look, I don't think we can say there will never be a line outside. I think that's.
No, we're not saying that.
No, someone just said it.
Right. We want to make sure that there is a queue space inside.
Yes.
That's what we
I
want.
think we can say that there'll be a queue space inside, and that will use.
Check later, later in the process.
You want to finish, Don? Finish your sentence?
I just want to say we'll use our best efforts to minimize the line. I think we can say that, and we'll have the queue inside. I just want to be careful. I don't think we can say that there will never be people outside.
No,
we're not asking for that.
Just want to be clear.
I know we're not supposed to talk about sidewalk cafes, but I think the conflict comes when we think there's going to be a line outside potentially, and you have a sidewalk cafe, so there's nowhere to line up along the side of the wall outside on the sidewalk. So maybe that's tabled for another time, but that's really, I think, what the concern is.
It will be tabled when they come back.
Does that help you?
Yeah.
I have another one. You indicate that you're going to use a storm enclosure, and we would rather you don't, because it's illegal, if it's more than 18 inches.
I don't even know how to put on that.
They have the vestibule, so it doesn't look like.
Yeah, right. I think it was filled out wrong.
It's like, Donald, there is no reason for them to have a storm enclosure.
Yeah, if you have a vestibule. So can we change?
Are you having a storm enclosure?
No, we just have a vestibule at the entrance.
Yeah, so we'll take that out and cross that out.
We're trying to get on the application. Okay.
That's all
Is there anybody from the community, Nelly? Any hands raised?
No, there's no one.
We have one more from the committee here, to my right, Jesse?
Sorry, just because I may have missed it, in the initial presentation, just for my own clarification. On nights where there is not a performance, will the restaurant still be in use? Or if there are gonna be nights where the restaurant is not in use, but the bar and cellar are? Like, is there any time where, this is just gonna be like people are gonna go and use the cellar, the cellar's just gonna be a cocktail lounge that people go to? And I'm not saying there's anything want to know, I just want to have a better concept. Of what
The restaurant will be open 7 days a week. The supper club, depending on the programming, the supper club is usually open Thursday through Sunday. So during the holidays, we're exceptionally busy for Christmas, so we run shows sometimes 7 nights a week. But the rest of the year, we're almost always closed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. The supper club and the restaurant opens. The restaurant runs the normal restaurant.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Do I hear a motion?
And you're going to specify that we are not, this doesn't cover the sidewalk cafe, right?
All right,
It's not included.
We'll come back after DOT notifies you.
Cross down.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Tina, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? President not eligible? Abstaining. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Okay,
you.
good luck. Up to number 2.
Thank you.
Oh, that's where you meant good luck.
Yeah, what else could it mean? What else could it mean?
Was it genuine?
Genuine good luck. Good
Well,
luck.
shady.
It's a major operation you're proposing here.
4-7, yes.
We're gonna kill it. Thank you, guys. Nice to see you all.
Item number 4, 64 7th Avenue, SANMIWAGO 66 Incorporated. Do we have the applicant here?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so
that's
would you
great.
like to talk about it? I think we'll probably have some questions, maybe some community people as well. Okay.
Hello, good evening, everybody. I'm the attorney for the applicant, SANMIWAGO, SANMIWAGO 66 Inc. So DBA the SANMIWAGO. So the restaurant located the ground floor and partial basement. The building is five-story building. The first ground floor of the restaurant, the stores, on the restaurant. So there's a valid seal for the store. There's 13 table and 16 seat. So the restaurant serve Asian cuisine, basic most of the dumpling. We open hour from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. So our client want to apply for the full liquor license, but there are no bar, no music, no outdoor seating. So we will want members support us to apply file the application.
I appreciate that.
Is there any questions from committee members? Tina?
I guess I'm a little bit foggy on this. 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. Is this a breakfast place and a lunch place and a dinner place? Because I only see a menu.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it's a full menu.
We need more breakfast, right?
We need more breakfast.
Previous applicant had 12 a.m.
Yeah, but it's only 11, I think it's very small.
Okay, it is
Right?
tiny.
Yeah, is this, this is probably next to the new smoke shop, convenience store that just opened
Yes,
up? I
correct.
was hoping it would take it's not the actual location, it's
It's
next door. Right, yeah.
Where Moment Tea used to
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
I don't question what yours are concerns that are.
Okay, I just want to raise that the previous occupant had some stipulations on their liquor license that we had given. Something about the speakers.
Yep.
Should be lower than the ceiling. Now, the previous occupant had a sound report.
Oh, so
And they agreed to.
So
They
yeah,
agreed to respond and implement the findings of that sound report. So I'm asking, my question is, they implemented it. Will you continue that? With,
They
for
said
example,
no
the
music.
ceiling, the speakers lower than the ceiling, not on the ceiling.
No, we did we're doing a full renovation with no speaker. No,
No
music.
Very low, very low.
They are
It's
going to
not-
background.
So it's not
Background.
applicable at all. Okay?
So
They didn't circle anything.
So just to be clear, you're agreeing right now to no music whatsoever. Is that what you just said? You're not gonna have anything?
Oh, no.
Like only background.
Only
music.
very, not, it's not called music, it's very soft, background.
Right.
You even cannot hear it, like.
So what was just said was the prior tenant had an agreement where their speakers would not be mounted to the ceiling.
Oh, no, we
And-
don't do it. Yeah, we don't do it. We put on the,
Also, they did a sound study of the space before, and there were certain recommendations made from that sound study, it sounds
Got
like. And they agreed to follow those, but we need to know from you that you've had access to that sound study. And that you will follow the same recommendations, but you're gonna need to find it and implement it.
Yeah. 就是说你不能把这个喇叭装在上面。
oh, yeah, we got it. We totally modeling already. We are totally different, the setting, like them.
Well, that's not necessarily good for you, because if it's too different, then we might ask you to do your own sound study.
We do. My client didn't have the sound system.
Yeah, very minor.
Just
Yeah.
background.
Yeah,
music.
background.
Okay,
Not-
but let me try to help. So where are going to be your speakers? Where are you going to be? You're going to have background music. We understand that, that's great. Where are going to be the speakers? Where are they?
We are like some like the TV, the menu, we very slow music. It's not like let the people listen music, not something like that.
Where are the speakers?
That the kitchen.
The speakers are going to be in the kitchen?
No, not the speaker. We mount the menu over there with the TV have the little come from the TV or some
Speakers on the TV.
yeah, the speaker like on the
So where is the TV?
on the cashier, near cashier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my guess is.
No,
it's a-
our music is not a problem. We don't
We
we
heard
don't do the music like how to say it. We are not like the bar, not like the bar restaurant. We just like have the
We know
have
who
the
this
restaurant for the food with the customer.
You have
Simple
some here. Okay, so thank you, and now we have
Questions?
some questions from people from the community.
Oh.
Hi,
Can you introduce yourself and?
I'm
Thank
Nancy
you very much.
Reyes.
Do you want to actually come up because I can, so that everyone can see you. If you come up in the front, the camera will capture you.
Oh, God.
Is that okay? Do you mind?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good there. Perfect.
Okay.
It'll catch you.
So I'm Nancy Reyes, and I introduced myself to Jeff a little while ago. Taught him when he was opening up the restaurant and poking around inside when we first leased it. And we're really happy to have a commercial tenant again after the building vacate order was lifted. I want to be sure that there's no speakers attached to the ceiling, as there is no soundproofing between that space and the apartments above, which is apartment 2A and 2B. We can hear everything that happens down there. So I noticed.
No problem. Yeah, no problem.
Thank you,
Okay.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Let's have a stipulation.
Anytime a problem, you let me know.
Sure, and it was a previous, I actually was at that original liquor license
Yes.
meeting when that stipulation, that was for UMA, 2 businesses prior. And the reason is because base travels, everything travels through the ceiling. It's an old building, there's no soundproofing. So I noticed in your stipulation package, you also mentioned there are soundproofing in the ceiling, that there was special ceiling installed. Can you talk to that? You're muted.
Okay. What I forget your name, like we talked before.
It's Nancy.
Nancy, nice to see you again, Nancy. Don't worry about this thing. Anything you see bother you, whatever the music, we don't mind the music on the ceiling. We totally understand it. We come over here to make everybody happy, not try to bother the neighbor. That's not what our purpose. So it's like what I'm talking to you. Like everything you suggest, you just let us know. But when I concern you, we definitely take your concern. Don't mount the speaker on the ceiling. You might put on the floor, whatever. Put on the cash register. We are not the bar, not the liquid bar.
I understand, but the problem is that sound transfers easily because.
Oh no! That kind of sound won't that loud. That sound won't that loud. It's like the people. The sound is.
There's a
Let me
question.
tell how big.
Excuse me. There's a question out there that you have not answered clearly. The roof of your store
Is not.
is it soundproof or not? Because that was, I think, one of the questions. I don't hear an answer to that.
I think we need a sound
I
report
think we need a new sound.
and we need an implementation of a sound
What
report.
kind of ceiling is this? What, are you doing a sheetrock, a drop ceiling? Is it?
It's already there.
No, it's not.
Well,
Oh,
This is-
they're adding a ceiling. Oh, that's.
See, that's what I'm asking you.
Oh, so they
Because
could
there's
actually
certain
dampen
things you can do. You can do damper. you
Yeah,
can
but
do-
I think before the restaurant owner, the way they operating, maybe they put too loud, even whatever you do it, like whatever sound system, if they really try to like don't care the people, the neighbor, they we don't know them. We don't know what the previous owner. But the thing is that when we do it, we have many restaurants. We've been named award by New York Times in 2022. We are top 10 restaurant like in New York City. So our brand, we will take care of it. Our customer, we really consider how they're feeling, especially our neighbor. So the thing you concern, I don't think we have that problem. But if that you think is bother you, but because our volume is not, I don't think the volume will go up to the roof unless we are like very loud. Like the music is like we just normal talking. Like
We're not discussing the music. We're not discussing the quality of the food. It could be the best food in the city, the best food in North America, but we're talking about the ceiling. We're talking about, you know,
okay, then we don't put the music like we don't put the music though. If you really concern us, don't want us to have music, then we don't want the music after some.
There are two apartments above you.
Our
And we
client
took into
says,
consideration for the two
if they're problem, so they can remove the even background music. That's what they.
We want to prevent a problem from happening.
we sounded, we
We
get sound
want to
report
like
and
a
then
sound
implementation.
report.
I think they're saying they'll stipulate to no background music.
Yeah, they said they would stipulate to no background.
I mean, would that be?
The problem is
that
that's hearing noise. The tenants are hearing noise upstairs.
Right.
And when they have 100 people, 50, how many of they have in there,
Yeah,
then, you know, it might not just be music, it could be a loud crowd of
Do
talking
you
that goes up.
do you hear a lot of people talking?
We sometimes hear voices coming
Right.
through, so that was part of the issue. The previous commercial tenants were extremely respectful and thoughtful in their interactions with the fellow neighbors, so we were able to work out a completely agreeable situation. There was no contention. But they were very considerate in following the stipulations that were already in place. So we would just like to make sure that continues, the stipulation as far as speakers not mounted to the ceiling, considerate of your neighbors, keeping noise down, not hearing voices.
well, but we come, all right.
Yeah,
This is-
Okay, no problem, Nancy. We don't need the map. We don't map on the ceiling. It's okay. Yeah, we will follow what you request. Yeah.
What other problem you have beside that?
Sure, my other problems are there was never a posting on the exterior of the building stating that there was an application for a liquor license in place.
Right.
Additionally, the images within the stipulation package are not of the facade of the building nor the interior that's being renovated. Those are different locations.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
The photo that we have here is not this
We have-
location?
Nope, that's a different building,
Oh, that's not it.
not
are
our
you
building.
saying?
The interior shows,
This is-
not our building,
This interior is not this building.
not that building. Maybe there's the exterior.
Oh, yeah, right, this is not this building. I think you might have slipped in the wrong photos into your application packet.
This is not
yeah.
7th Avenue.
Yeah, this is not the right building, yeah.
And then additionally, on the narrative where it says background of the applicant and premise, it's the wrong information again. It's referring to a location at Second Avenue and
Oh,
12th
yeah, I
Street,
saw that.
which claims it's only open.
that's SANMIWAGO.
Yeah, little mishap there.
A little sloppy.
Little sloppy, and also, I just kind of thought it was a little weird on the petition to support the proposed liquor license. The last name on there is Nancy something at 667th Avenue, apartment number 2F. That's not me, I'm the only Nancy in the building, and there is no apartment 2F in the building.
Where is that, sorry, what did you?
On the petition, the last line of the petition. So, I thought that was rather interesting.
So we need to.
I gotta clean this.
We need to come back and
Yeah,
redo this.
yeah, we need a table and then we need a bunch of things
Wait a
in
minute.
between, right?
He needs to post a
But
notice.
it's, and then.
Our building is 64.
I definitely,
Oh,
okay.
你
So I definitely would think that you want to have a new sound report and a new
Not
committee.
you, we.
Now that I see this, these two look like a lot of the same kind.
Wait, but just, I'm suggesting. And we want to have a, them to execute a sound report,
Wait, I'm concerned about
the whole thing,
well, this petition thing is particularly problematic.
right?
The last.
Now I'm looking at this, I mean, these look like they're all the same hand, I mean,
Yeah.
the handwriting, the signatures is what's more important.
But the addresses are wrong.
But the addresses are wrong, something is.
203 14th, it's 203 West 14th. And actually, that's my next door neighbor. I could knock over there and see if somebody signed it.
All right,
But
I mean,
see
there's
what-
still.
we need a table, we need to resubmit properly. Re-notified, resubmit,
Yeah.
do a sound report and commit to the sound report,
And get.
right?
So, but so you're saying this was,
I walk by it every day. I live there. I can show you the pictures
it's
from this
not,
morning.
it
I
wasn't
took.
there.
Not
Is
the,
there a co-op in your building?
no, we're all rentals. There's 15 apartments.
I was just wondering how we
Yeah.
can get to meet with you guys.
We would love to meet with them.
And maybe set up before some of these, guidelines that you guys worked out
Oh, it's
with the tenant.
We
It
would be
doesn't sound like
thrilled.
they had proper soundproofing last time it was in.
Greg, do you have something to say? I see your head shaking.
Sorry, I'm just struck by this conversation about the application now, or at least this particular segment on the petition, which, I mean, I feel now we have multiple questions about that. So when I heard the sound study, I thought, well, yeah, absolutely, that's part of it. But I did hear a comment about tabling this application as well. So forgive me for not knowing what the right path is, but if there are questions about the petition, I'm not sure I feel comfortable proceeding with this. So I just don't know what the right strategy is for the next step.
Okay, I think this is the consensus. We haven't taken a vote. But this is the consensus, I think, from the committee, is we would like you to come back at our next meeting, which is in June. We would like you to come back with a new application that has photos, for example, of your site, not of another site. We would like you to come back, having posted to the community your application. Seems like it wasn't posted. Okay? We would like you to come back with an application that there's some questions about the petition that's there. So we'd like you to look at that petition and maybe you might wanna withdraw that petition and have another petition. Okay? And we would like you to come back with a sound report with recommendations. And the sound report may say, you don't have to do anything because
Right.
it's nothing. But, okay, this is somewhat the consensus, but a consensus includes other.
It's, the other thing is that I would be comfortable without a sound report if they had Nancy's signature in the application. She's the one that's directly about it. Cost money on a sound report, if Nancy signs off on it, I don't care.
The previous sound report,
It's not an expert,
I can reach out
and
to
she
the
doesn't know
previous
what to work or not. We should have a sound report
Oh,
and
you
some,
can get the previous sound report
and
for it.
get
That's okay.
somebody to
I
deal
can
with
ask,
this
I can
thing.
get
So
contact.
it's either,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay.
I mean,
So,
that's preference.
So may I say something? So our client decided no background at all, no music at all.
But what about the voices? Yeah.
We have voices, that's also including the sound.
A table plan, a plan, like.
And we would like a table
Yeah.
plan. There's no table plan.
Yeah,
Hey.
it's,
Table only 13 table, 10 tables. You know,
We would like a
let-
plan, we would like a plan and see it.
Yeah, your application is incomplete and using the wrong photos, we're concerned about the picture, the wrong description, it's not can we send them an example of an application?
No.
this is.
And the sound report, maybe you don't have to get a new one, if you can, we can get the old sound report, it's still the same physical
Nancy
space.
will help them
And
get.
Nancy could help you get that prior
Do
report.
you have each other's contact
But
information?
you, let me just stand up here, if this is the correct number, the one applied, on the application, the 917,
Yeah, that should be.
let me just double check. 917-628-6086, is that the correct number to contact you?
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
great.
Yeah, we all have the number.
The previous owner.
Let's
I have a question though.
Okay.
Nancy, may I have your number?
I'm gonna send it to you so it's not on public record.
Okay,
Okay, all right.
Christine?
So yeah, we're saying, let's look at the last report. But if my impression from the conversation is that the last report was not implemented. Like, you know, the sound.
I thought some of it wasn't.
I thought you said it was.
Yeah,
Right?
it was. So if they
Yeah,
agree
it
to
was.
provide by the old sound report, it saves them a lot of money and hassle. And
Right.
she's willing to do that.
Well, from what I understood, she said that she could hear voices,
Yeah.
which means they didn't do the soundproofing correctly. And they just made an agreement with her when they were trying to use it.
Right.
Which means
But I don't think
that.
that's, right, I agree.
But
我们也重新做一次
they're。going to go by the sound report.
在那个搜狐。
They have to do the work. If there was recommendations in previous sound report that was not implemented.
Right.
they were-
不许跟他讲。
They did a reading in your part.
And I think it says
对啊，
that
他就是不想你用嘛。
Okay,
Yeah.
so do you hear what we're saying?
Do they agree to come back next month?
Do you hear what we're saying? We'd like you to come back next month.
You cannot say, okay.
Okay, do we need to send a notice again?
You need to have all your tables, where they're going to be.
Yeah,
You're going to speak to Nancy, she's gonna try to get you a sound report, and you need to follow that sound report and agree to it. If she can't get it, you need to have your own sound report, sound study done.
But we'll,
And
First-
Nellie can help you find a sound report, she can point you to a list of people who can do that.
okay.
but we also need a new application.
And a new application with the diagram that shows where your
Which is
tables
correct.
will be. And,
That's accurate.
yeah,
It doesn't show a picture of somebody else's.
the picture of the actual space, not a different
This
space.
is the first time.
Right. Good thing we have. these-
Yeah, this is still on the construction.
Right, and you need to post on the outside of your restaurant
For multiple days.
for a week. This
Yes, not
flyer,
for
this
5
public
minutes.
notice needs to be on the outside window where everybody can see it.
And we're gonna
But
send
they
you a
have
new
had
public notice
restaurants for years.
for
I mean, we're
the
explaining,
date coming up in June.
right?
Okay?
It doesn't matter if it's under construction, it needs to be the actual space.
Okay,
Yes.
So
Okay.
you can't go to Second Avenue and use a picture of that space or the interior of that. And, it has to be the actual space that you're applying for.
Okay.
我想我要不要讲？
Thank you, and we'll see
讲
you
讲他
then
的地铁
in
口在
June.
门口那个人，那外面的声音里面听不到啊。
Yes,
You agree to,
Yes,
you're going to
yes.
that?
贴姐这样没用。
So we'll see you in
we
June.
will see you in
Okay.
June. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 5 on our agenda, 431 West 37th Street, Unit B.
那我们走了。
Okay.
OK， 拜拜 ，Thank you。
You.
Okay, hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Go right ahead.
Okay, hello, community members. Good evening. My name is Camille and I represent 431 Food Market Corp, they will be applying for a full liquor on-premise license. Of note, this is the same license principle of the current license at this location. It is currently operating as a restaurant that has done very well for itself, Chef's Table at Brooklyn Fair. Nothing will be changing in terms of operation. So that's all the same hours apply, 5 to 11 p.m. with the last seating for dining at about 8:45 p.m. And we have the applicant licensee here in the chat, Mo, who can also answer questions should you have any. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members, comments?
No, this is a great location and it doesn't, I think they have a change of ownership more than anything.
Okay. Anybody from the community? No? Anybody have their hands raised?
No, there's no one.
Okay.
All right.
You have a motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, in favor, opposed, present not eligible, abstaining, quickly done.
Thank you.
Thank you for hanging in there. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 6, our last item on the agenda. It is 191 7th Avenue. Okay, Chelsea on 7th floor. And, do we have the applicant here?
Right here.
Oh, we have the applicant live. I was wondering if you were from the community or the applicant.
Live from New York.
Okay. So go ahead.
What a nice chance.
Just in case.
Okay.
Where you want? Yours? Yeah, that's great. Okay.
Yeah, you're on the camera.
Okay, so, a little very quick summary, I'm sure everybody wants to go home, but, I live in community board for over 25 years. I've been here when the apartments were $4,000 for one bedroom, and I've been, having a restaurant and bars and businesses in the community board since 2011, 12, I think. My first place was in Manhattan Plaza. It was a dollar wine bar. Somewhat have you frequent, but yeah, I was there. I was at 720 10th Avenue. The Harrow was a restaurant there. We were there for almost 8 years, and unfortunately, the pandemic put us out. I did. You were kind enough to approve me a couple other spaces. One was on 277 West 22nd Street for a 3 a.m. license, but we didn't proceed again because of the same. It was right before the pandemic, and then I was approved for another location on 129th Avenue between 18 and 17. There's 2 spaces next to each other. It was a restaurant and a lounge downstairs. It was granted a 4 a.m. license on that, but again, we didn't proceed. So the landlord was very difficult. I'm in front of you. I've been had about 14 licenses in a year overall. I had a close place also by the garden. It's 251 West 30th Street, 5,000 square foot space. but, again, we no longer there, unfortunately. Anyway, long story short, I know about the space, you know, I know this neighborhood very, very well. I mean, you know, all of my applications always very straight up and I'm currently actually just moved, from, I was in CB2 area. I moved back to the neighborhood, because of the restaurant, similar to the previous applicant, you know, they don't know what they're doing and I have a 2-year-old, so I'm very sympathetic and I'm a very, very good neighbor. You could ask, you know, Nellie and everybody knows me. So basically what I'm trying to do with this space is, I think is, I don't know if you have basically we're trying to create a Mediterranean restaurant. I had a Mediterranean restaurant in Westchester, in Rye, and I had one in Florida. I didn't want Florida too much, too hot, and I'm sticky. So, long story short, I want to bring the concept here. You know, it's a Mediterranean, it's a combination of basically based on the concept of there's 22 countries in the Mediterranean, bringing in, you know, food a little bit from Spain, from Lebanon, from Israel, from Greece, and basically. So that's the food concept. The only thing is the space is very big, as you see on the floor plan. So I wanted to create a little more of an entertainment value to it, something that is basically you could have dinner and you know, I think this is maybe the new thing in that has become, you know, everything is about an experience, you know, everything is people are like, oh, if you don't have the Instagram thingy, what else are you doing? You know, the food by itself is not enough. So with that being said, it's so it basically goes into a room. It's a 2,000 square foot room. We have the basic restaurant, etc. Then it goes into another room behind it in the middle, if you see on the floor plan. So basically is where the kitchen is gonna be. And then it has a back room. If you have the pictures, if you don't, I have them with me if you want to see them. So basically that room, we're gonna create more, basically a room with entertainment from on a Tuesday night, you know, I'm a big wine person, as I saw it, my favorite passion is wine. So from book and wine night to live jazz to little, you know, maybe a little interactive entertainment. You know, once in a while there might be a DJ, you know, and so basically that's what that back room I see being used. As we said, and I just listened to what you guys said, so the outdoor space is not really on tables, there's not really anything to discuss. The windows will always be closed. At 10 PM or whatever the community requirement is, I think it's 10 or 11, I'm not sure. And there is never a line outside. We're not that kind of, you know, she's been to some of my establishment. I don't do kiddie people. I do a little higher end, and basically, you know what? It's one of those. The lighting and music dictates everything. So I'm not here to do the crazy club scene. I have a 2-year-old kid. I don't need this. You know, I don't want any problems. I have other licenses, so I don't want to jeopardize to make a big buck one night to you know jeopardize other licenses. So basically, this the flow of the thing is you come in for dinner, you know, in the front, in the middle is the kitchen. There's a couple of tables there, basically chef table kind of ish, whatever. And then at the back you go on Thursdays, you will be jazz, and basically every night have whatever entertainment music is. There will be no line outside, and then because there's 2,000 square foot space in there with a long bar, so make sure everybody's in there. You know, the space is above the space is all offices. There's no apartments. The back room is soundproof. I also have an estimate that I don't see it over there. The soundproof estimate that we got. That's long. Just to, again, it's one of those things. It's one of those things is, I'd rather do it first before it, becomes a problem, because I know sound travels. I know, we have a couple more there too. Yeah, that's my sound estimate guy. And the gentleman sitting next to me, he's a very good friend for 20-something years. He owns his own bed and breakfast up in Wyndham, but he lives in the city. But he ran Seville, below Scarpetta at the James Hotel. So I'm like, you know what? I want to make sure I have a good team member or partner that knows how to, a little more experience in that vicinity. They never have a problem. They have a little more mature crowd. So I want to make sure that everything is flawless. Not only, soundproofing the back room is soundproofed from the previous owner, and I know it was a problem area because I have the 21-year-old throwing up outside. Trust me, every time I walk by, I was like, Jesus Christ. So I understand that, and I make that is not my crowd. And again, you just look up all my places, and none of them are that kind of people. And I brought somebody experienced with that too. And when you go to Seville, it's the same thing. Everything is soundproof. There is a little more mature people, but I don't want to be the focal of this to be that. The focal is really about the food experience. I'm a food person. Love wine, love, food and wine pairing and stuff like that. It just, the space is big enough, so I'm like, you know what? Let's create a really cool experience for everybody to have.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here live. I think you're the first applicant that we've seen live.
Well, that's because we asked them to come over Zoom, so we can't punish people for not. In fact, but I feel perfect.
Question I
We're used to
have
being like this. Yeah.
is the live music, and you mentioned jazz, classic, whatever it's gonna be, will all be in the back room.
All in the back, nothing in front.
And I noticed that you also said some dancing.
No dancing.
Because it does say on there, some dancing.
No, I think it's in
It says dance to jazz, cool music. They jumped out at me.
And they might not dance the jazz, but they will dance the cool music.
So I just added that. I have no problem necessarily with dancing, but I know one of the prior sticks on the space was no dancing.
So
No dance floor.
no dance floor.
No dance.
Yeah, there's no dance.
Just give us a couple of sentences describing this kind of.
So I have a question. I guess my thing will be, what is the description of the no dancing? Like if I went with my wife and he's playing.
Jump up from the table.
No. I'm thinking he's playing Etta James and singing At Last. I can't, dance with my girl or,
I think
so that's why I.
Well, dancing is approved, isn't it?
Yeah, I would not have a problem.
I only raised it because of the prior stipulation.
Right, like the prior was.
Well, that's a whole other story.
Right.
I think Carrie, you have a hand raised?
I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes, hi, I'm on the screen. In your application, I do not see community notice.
I have it, I actually have it on email, but, we posted on the polls. And I reached out to, 26 block
300
association
restaurants.
members.
Yeah, he's got it on here, Carrie. It's on page
Oh.
4.
Geez, I must be looking at the wrong thing. Sorry.
He reached out to 5 and he spoke to Pam Wolf, so.
Yeah.
Just Pam? Only Pam?
Pam on or no?
Wait, you only talk to Pam, that's it?
No, he talked to Melissa, Alex, but he
So-
reached out
To the right people. I
A lot of
reached out to
people.
26 people.
And you posted a notice on the actual building itself, yeah? Or the,
The same restaurant.
not in Brooklyn.
no, I'm asking because obviously, you're aware that this restaurant has a pretty, terrible history in Chelsea. I happen to live on 21st Street, unfortunately, too close to you. And so I'm a little bit concerned that there's no picture. If you could just add that to the application, please, of when you actually put the posting up.
I'll sign it to now.
I think that the previous, even Il Bastardi had a 2 a.m. closing, like on the weekends. Is that true?
The most was 2, but I don't think Friday 4 a.m. is a problem in that location.
Yeah, I don't.
And you said
Nothing.
there's no residential above you, it's only offices?
Only offices.
Okay.
But I'm still doing the soundproofing regardless, because I wanna make sure that in the future, God forbid, we never have an issue. All my places, even the restaurants, I always, and everybody will test it out, always make sure the soundproofing is right, the speakers are not attached to the ceiling. You know, been around the block a few times, so, you know, I'm always a very, very good neighbor. I'll make sure that is the case.
Okay, and you said you'll do a security plan if needed? It's probably needed, and I'm sorry that's your burden for bad, operators before you.
Yeah, I feel like I'm doing
Yeah, unfortunately, it comes with the space.
every Friday and Saturday, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
The previous, Carrie, and for everybody, the previous applicants had 2 a.m.
Right, correct. I have no problem with 4 here.
On Saturday and
Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of residential and a brand new senior residential building on the corner there. So I don't know if you'd consider 2 a.m. across the board or, on the weekends, and then come back to us for a 4 a.m. once we see that everything is, operating appropriately.
Yeah, honestly, I've been a proven operator in the community, and I've never misled or misrepresented anything. So I appreciate if I could get the 4 a.m. and I'm happily, if there was ever any issues, I'm happily,
Okay. Okay, thank you. Sorry. Jesse, and then Candace, you had your hand up?
So this is I'm on 21st, and this is my corner, I would, this would be an excellent addition, I think, to that particular, stretch of the neighborhood. I just wanna clarify, so this is the estimate that we're seeing here. This is in response to a sound study that you've already conducted?
Yes.
So on the application, I think it said no sound study, but you've done a sound study, and you're already implementing.
Yes.
Yes. Carrie, I do understand your concerns about the 4 a.m., but I think a proprietor who's willing to go through, these sorts of expenses at the outset to do the right thing should get a little bit more leeway from us in their operations. A Friday, Saturday. Which is normally, it is true in Chelsea, the 4 a.m. is not our typical thing, but it doesn't sound like you're trying to make a nightclub here in any regards.
No.
There's really not gonna be a dance floor in the back, right? It's just a room where there happens to be some live music and people can enjoy.
It's very small. It's
very small. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. And I think it would be a nice addition to the pairing. You don't have a name for it yet?
I'm still deciding. That's the hardest part, believe me.
Yeah.
Candace?
Yeah, my question was just about the floor plan, the back area. Is that a door? Like, is it sliding doors? Like, how is it?
So
that back area?
there are actually arches.
It's just an arch.
Arches, but it has a door that closes.
It does have it, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a door that goes to the outside in the back?
No.
Ted?
What is the capacity of this? Because the other application had like 300 people previously.
So, as you know, the space was divided. They divided the space, so the space is much smaller than what it used to be. The previous CFO was, I think, 312.
Yeah.
So we're probably gonna be around 160, 170 max.
I would be looking to put more restrooms in, because on your drawing, I see 3.
No, there is more,
There's a handicap upstairs and then there's, I think, 6 or 7 downstairs, communal bathroom.
there's actually a picture of it, if you see that, it's a communal center.
What else too?
So there's one upstairs, cleaning champagne.
Oh, yeah, this is the communal center and it's surrounded with bathrooms.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
So there's like
down
7.
there.
Yeah, there's 7 bathrooms.
Yeah, there's a lot of 1, 2, and then a whole bunch of.
Okay.
Too many.
And a handicap.
I know this, I love the square was like a sink or something.
No.
Question, go ahead, Christine.
So I'm with Carrie, just because of the reputation of that place, and it's unfair to you, I totally understand, but people are going to be nervous. And I think, sticking to 2 o'clock or maybe 3 to, go in between would send a message. And then obviously we can always come back and ask for the difference, but that's where I personally would feel more comfortable. Just because we have lived through the last operator and it was just a nightmare.
And you also have someone who lives right on that corner, someone else who lives a couple blocks away.
Yeah, I'm just saying how I. So I just, I'm one of many boards.
I agree. And I usually like to be consistent too, on how that we treat everyone the same, and normally we would not,
Right.
But it is, I do think that, that kind of.
No, I feel pretty
proactive,
comfortable.
yeah.
I just
Wait.
would like, yeah.
I'm sorry, why are we, so again, just to reinforce this, this is not typically the practice, so I guess I just maybe didn't hear why it is that we're thinking we would make that 4 AM accommodation in this case, because that's not typically what we do, so I'm not sure I'm following why. I don't think I heard, and maybe it's just because the audio is a little tricky when you're not in the room, because sometimes the voices are over top of each other. But can somebody just clarify for me again why it is that we're not sticking to what we normally do, which is probably hold to the 2 o'clock?
And give more when there's the operator has proven themselves to be, good for the neighborhood.
Just, this is not 4 AM 7 days a week.
No,
This is 4 AM on Friday and Saturday
only.
only. 2 AM on, was it Thursday,
Wednesday,
Wednesday, and the rest 12 o'clock. So
So
it's
they've
not
got-
straight across calendar. To me, it seems thoughtful and workable. And particularly now that I hear people from across the street.
And for my reasoning was simply them showing up smartly, but I think it is very persuasive to say, that the handout that they've given us, sorry, you guys don't have it, I'm realizing.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I say this out loud, or?
No, please.
Yeah, no, so they're committing to spend about $110,000 on soundproofing that back space. And that's,
The whole place.
the whole place, excuse me, sorry, which is a commitment before even showing up here, before getting feedback. And I think that that's something that we should acknowledge, and that kind of, being that proactive is something that should be rewarded for other, so people come before us in the future know, if you're someone who thinks ahead and thinks about, being cognizant of your neighbors, we as a community board are happy to allow you to operate a little bit later. I think that's not a bad precedent to set.
And at the same time, I want to say that at Manhattan Plaza, we would be very thoughtful about the neighbors. So, which was a very difficult situation. So clearly, it's not about them.
Well, they care. They're good operators.
It's not, we know they are good operators, we know they are thoughtful. It's just like I'm still in shock on what happened in that place before. And indeed, it's difficult to, shed that experience.
Was it sound issues or customer?
Oh, no, it was
Administration of the place.
It was
customers
operator.
and how they did
The
it.
street itself was a disaster.
Drink as
Yeah.
much as we can.
Right, there
So
were
they were
people.
laying out in the street.
I have some questions based on the previous steps we had. Okay, what about from over? events? You be thinking of having those, or?
What is that?
No bottomless brunches, signs all
No,
over the place.
So we could
No.
say no promo events,
No.
okay? And what about private events?
I mean, I could host events for, corporate events for.
Okay,
I mean,
no,
just that
yeah.
thing, but
One of the prior stipulations were, for private events of more than 100 people, the applicants will provide one security person at least.
yeah, of course.
Okay.
But most of my private events will probably be corporate event for Google or for stuff like that. It's not gonna be I know, I think I know what you're referring to, that they do some of these runoff. They hire a big DJ and they throw crazy.
Yeah, or
Those-
hiring an
those
external
kind of-
promoter.
Yeah, and they
Fill the room.
and they destroy the place and they walk out the next day and you're like, I lost money and I pissed off all the community.
Broke one of your glasses.
No,
No, that's not how.
and the last stipulation is that. Let me read it exactly. No owner, manager, or investor of El Estado.
And that was specific to that.
That was specific to.
That was specific to Vestal.
Yeah, but this is,
That would, I think you would.
Oh, no, he.
I'm
doesn't
sorry,
let him
want-
finish, let him finish.
I was listening, I would.
Yeah, I think it's not going, none of them involved.
like, no owner, manager, or investor of El Estado. Including without limitation, Robert Malta and Christine Solane will be involved in any way.
In your application.
Including as an owner, manager, or silent partner.
No, they're not involved.
Oh,
Okay.
They lost.
And if I may add something,
But add something and then Candace has a question.
may I go first?
Go ahead.
So also in response to what they just said, also, I've had liquor license in New York for almost 20 years. Never had a incident, never had a citation, never had a fine, never had a problem. I've had a liquor license in Trinity Ward 4 since 2011 or 12, I think. And I don't think I've had any complaints about anything. So I'm just basically just adding to that, and I appreciate the consideration for what I've asked. That's.
Okay, thank you. Candace?
My question's on the application, I just, hoping it's just an error, but on your establishment type, you pick club.
Well, no.
Oops.
Okay, well, we can take that off.
We can fix that.
Okay,
Absolutely not.
Please,
Fix that.
Okay.
thank you.
Tina, did you have a question?
Who's making?
I do not, so the only additional step, aside from agreeing to the previous steps, would be, you're gonna have security on Friday and Saturday nights.
Yes.
To make people feel good about it.
And we implement the sound take, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a strong question?
Is there a storm inclusion?
I didn't know.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No. Wait, who is making a motion?
Well, I just wanna.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, if I could just just to follow up on the question I asked. I appreciate that this, and again, sorry I'm not there in person. This has been a perfectly reasonable and respectful and appreciated presentation. Just two things to say. One is, I appreciate that this individual has come to the table making a significant investment in soundproofing and the effort to do whatever sound study to make sure that the space is meeting the totally. And Bert, I also hear that the 4 a.m. ask is not across the board, and that there is this sort of 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, I'm following that. Again, I'm just playing off of what I have seen us do in the past, and where I sit, I'm not swayed, to be honest. This 4 o'clock, I don't get it, because typically we don't make a practice of this. And so even though I appreciate the investment, even though I appreciate that this is a very respectful presentation, and that there are accommodations being made out across the board, we have flagged during the course of this conversation, there are concerns about this space, or this, because of the history, whatever that is, forgive me for not knowing. But again, I just responding to what I heard, because I asked a question and folks responded. I appreciate that. I'm sorry I'm not there in person to bat it back and forth, but just to say, I'm still not swayed by this 4 a.m. Now, again, if I'm the sole entity that's out of the loop on this as an outlier, I hear you, and I don't want to I'm not gonna spend the time and energy going back and forth on it. I'm just saying to you, where I sit right now, I just still don't get it, why it is that we're making this accommodation.
And I just point something out though for this. They did reach out to the people in the community and nobody came forward making any complaints about the 4 AM. So that's the only reason why I would actually go from 2 AM to 4 AM, because they did the outreach and nobody came here with any concern from the community.
And it's
I think that, right? Is anyone?
No.
It's a
No.
vocal community.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
I'm just going to reiterate the fact that it may be, office buildings right above you, but that is a residential street. There is a brand new senior building feet away. And I feel a bit like Greg, like we usually err on the side of caution and say, please come back to us in a couple of months. Once you've, shown us that there is no problem. But this is sort of a notorious spot, and I'm not saying you're going to be notorious, hopefully not. But it is odd to me as well that, that we wouldn't err on the side of caution here.
Can I make a motion to
Yeah.
approve? With the steps?
But what the question is what closing hours. Well, I guess if there are people who don't like these closing hours, you should vote against.
Right, I make a motion to approve with the steps and the application as is, except where we corrected the club thing. With the hours that they have, and the 2 stipulations are implemented soundproofing that you are doing and security on Friday and Saturday nights.
And, the no.
Yeah, those steps, yeah. The previous steps.
You dare. I second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Valid opinion on this.
Okay, 3 opposed, okay, abstaining, present not eligible.
To the applicant, I just want to say I'm sorry because I would have absolutely voted in favor.
No.
So it's only 3 no's.
3 no's.
Yeah, it carried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you want no, and you and Greg.
I'll make sure I'm a very good neighbor. You'll.
Good.
I'm a very good neighbor.
And let us know what the name is and you have it. All right.
Well, okay.
So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your opinion.
And you are aware that the process is now goes before the full board.
I'm sorry.
This now goes before the full board. We make a recommendation to the full community board and they meet, June 5th.
And we have to attend that, that's all.
You don't have to.
Have to.
I'll like.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Bye.
Enjoy the Gregory.
Bye, guys.
Night.
Good night.